Welcome to the Claus YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, Gen Sudhakar Jee and Colonel Ajay Singh Rajawat. Welcome to the Jaipur Military Voices under the aegis of Claus. We have been going through discussing the realignment after tariffs. Then we discussed Nepal. Then we discussed Bhutan, Bangladesh, and today I would say that today is the most important country what we are going to discuss in this program, and that is Myanmar. Myanmar have been historically connected to India for a very long time, and the history of Myanmar goes back to around 2,000 years back, wherein the dynasties ruled. Basically, it was a Hindu kingdom, then Buddhists came in. So it is a change, the dynasties right for 2,000 years. And then it came under the British rule. And in 1947, when India got independence, Nepal also thereafter got its independence. Nepal had been they had a democratic form of government. The military was involved. Thereafter, the coup was there. And finally, I think 2021, again, another government change have been there. There have been democratic and military rules in between Myanmar for a very long time. The most important issue for India, that is Bharat, is that the geographical location of Myanmar is such that it connects our northeastern states. It connects India along with Thailand, Vietnam, and towards the I say Southeast Asian nations. It is probably one of the biggest assets in terms of the neighboring countries what India has. Today, with the developments taking place and after look east policy, then act east policy of the present government, the act east policy was the one which thinks at the economic level, at the military level, at social level, and many projects which are there in the offing, in the pipeline with Myanmar and India are taking shape. The prominent among them is the Maladan through the Bay of Bengal and goes towards Mizoram. Tri-party road which goes from More through Myanmar goes to Thailand, and our ONGC is working there for a long time. Oil exploration and gas production that is going on, and connected with that, BIMSTEC also is one of the organization in which Myanmar is very actively taking part, which it focuses on the India-Myanmar relationship. And to my mind, the most important aspect with Myanmar is the Bay of Bengal and the connectivity through Myanmar to towards the nations going towards Thailand, Vietnam, and down below Malacca states. So it is very important that India has to have more active relations with Myanmar. We had a visit of the present Prime Minister also visited Myanmar, and they have had discussions. And with the things going on, which is now in the offing, is there is going to be elections in Myanmar in this year, 2025, and hopefully the government which comes in, which will India, and they'll be working together. The elections which are likely to be there is as per the policy of India. India is supporting them. There, one team had come to India to see the Aadhaar system of our biometric Aadhaar system, as well as our voting machine system, which is there. So probably I think that is being implemented. With that in the backdrop, I'll not go into the details of the military aspects which we have been having along the border with Myanmar. We had many exercises, many operations which were conducted for a long period of time, beneficial to both of us. First, today I would like to I'll ask Colonel Ajay Singh Rajawat to briefly cover about the history, historical perspective, and the development with Bharat and Myanmar. Over to you, Colonel Rajawat.
Thank you, Brigadier Birendra, for giving me this opportunity to be on this forum. And Sudhakar sir, it is really pleasure to be interacting with you in this forum. Well, as we all know that whatever is happening in Myanmar right now, it has got its genesis into bec- Genesis with Myanmar, as far as India's relationship is concerned, is very old. Like it has already been covered by Brigadier Birendra, 2000 years old. Yes, because Myanmar was first unified under Burma Kingdom in 9th century, and they are the one who introduced Buddhism to Myanmar at that time. After that, the Indo-Myanmar border was defined in the year 1826 under Yandabo Treaty by Britishers. Then Britishers started, uh, colonizing Myanmar from 1885 onwards, if I'm not wrong. It is from there till 1948. And after 1948, Myanmar had a stint with democracy. And then in 1962, the first military coup took place in Myanmar. Now, after that, it was isolated. It was close to China. China was supporting the military regime and providing them with the economic and military aid since then. India started looking at look east policy quite late, but still now we have started. And India has got about 1,643 kilometers of border with Myanmar, starting from Arunachal in the north to Nagaland, Manipur, and then Mizoram. So Myanmar holds a very important, strategic important place for India. And the recent conflict in Manipur has also got its connection to Myanmar. Now, during British time, the tribals used to come and attack the Imphal Valley, which is predominantly Hindu Meitei, occupied by Hindu Meitei people. So, in order to stop those tribals, Britishers brought Kukizo people from Myanmar and the border areas and gave and populated them along the Imphal Valley on the hills to stop the tribals from invading the Imphal Valley. And with this in background, after India got independence, then uh, autonomous hill body was created in northeast, and all the hill people got reservation, and but the Metai people did not get the reservation. As a result, once Manipur High Court, it just passed a direction that government should consider giving reservation to Metais also. People had gone to court, and since then the trouble started. There was a demonstration which was going on, and then it became violent. And cookies thought that once if Metais are given a reservation, then their seats would suffer, and as a result, conflict started. Now these are very much connected to Myanmar. Cookies are basically from Myanmar. The roots are from Myanmar. And Mizo people are also connected to Myanmar. And Nagaland to some extent. Not Nagas are not very much connected, but yes, to some extent. So the dimension of the connectivity and ethnicity with Manipur vis-a-vis with Mizoram and are too different, and Nagaland are different. So it cannot be viewed in the same prism. And the dealing has also got to be different with all these three states and how we deal with them. Like in Manipur, we have to secure, it has to be security heavy. We have to secure the borders and do not allow the migration to come place. Because this porous border is root cause of problems in India for smuggling. Then ethnic underground groups, they go and make their bases there in Myanmar, and which is a basic problem since since in 60s onwards. And so this problem is generated because of the problem in Myanmar. Now in Myanmar, after 1962, in 2010, the process of democracy again started. 2015, the election took place where Aung San Suu Kyi, she became the prime minister. And 2020, again the election took place, but on 1st of February 2021, the parliament was dissolved, and there was a coup by military junta, and they took over the country. After that, People's Defense Force group by these ethnic people, it was created by them to fight against the military junta. Now, military junta started oppressing these people. As a result, there was a huge amount of influx of refugees into India, basically in Mizoram and Manipur, and to some extent in Nagaland also. And also, so India has to give humanitarian aid. They are very much connected to each other ethnicity wise. That has given rise to free movement of these militant groups. So with the Manipur problem, the Kukis rising against Meiteis, and even the Meiteis have got the militant group, so they are fighting with each other. The problem becomes very complex. So I feel with more than the military action, we need a political solution to the problem in Manipur. And also, we must support the democratization process of Myanmar in a big way. It is to our benefit if the democracy is restored in Myanmar. Secondly, economically also, we must be more active, proactive. We should get more proactive and give more aid and economically develop that area, because China Myanmar economic corridor, which starts from Yunnan province to the west of Myanmar, with a deep sea port of Yangkyo or something. So that is the corridor, and China has promised to provide about 21,000 million USD to develop this corridor. Already the railway line has started being laid in Myanmar, and power generation and other economic aid is being given. Now China is using this conflict in Manipur as a leverage to increase its influence in Myanmar. So India government has to deal with the problem first in Nagaland with the people of Naga along the border with Myanmar, wherein the the people to people interaction has to be there, and it has to be there. In Mizoram, the ethnicity resilience between the two sides, both Myanmar and India side, Mizos, the resilience has to be increased and humanitarian aid given. And in Manipur, we have to have a strong hand tactics wherein we seal the border, we do not let the militants group come into India, and we sort the problem politically of Kukis and Manipuris. So Myanmar holds a very important place in India's strategic international relation. So with this, I hand over to Brigadier Birendra.
Thank you, Colonel Rajawat. Very well covered the insight and background of Myanmar right from the history 2000 years back, and the status and relationship in relation to our boundary and borders with Myanmar. Very well covered. And with this, I come to the point that Myanmar holds an important place in the India's relations in Bay of Bengal and towards the South Asian countries. And now I'll request General Sudhakar Jee to cover the international ramifications on the relations of India and Myanmar, the things which are already in place, and what is the future likely to be. Over to you, sir.
Okay, okay. Good evening, Birendra. Firstly, heartiest congratulations. You must continue with the same gusto and momentum and keep it up. Very proud of you. And my very deep regards to my distinguished co-panelists, Colonel Rajawat. It's a pleasure to share the same platform. There are a lot of things to learn. I'm a student of geopolitics, security strategy. I continue to learn from my colleagues and brothers, officers, and I try to share as much as possible. But before I get going ahead through your channel, I hope it is allowed. I just want to show a book. देख रहा है क्या?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. That's right, sir.
Okay.
Mental illness, sir.
Bertley Lintner. Okay.
Yes,
This
sir.
is a book. And those of us who are watching or who may watch later, they will do good in their own pastime apart from playing golf, good golf, if they can find some time and turn the couple of pages. Particularly, I would say, read the page number 306. Page number 306. When you come to the postscript, this is postscript. Okay.
Sure.
In the postscript, you go to page number 306. This is what the page number says.
Yes, you can see that, sir.
Okay. So why am I sharing this is just to make things easy for our own comrades, mindful of the fact none of us are very, we don't have stamina beyond 7 minutes to listen. And not many of us have got the strength and stamina to go beyond 7 minutes of reading. In fact, third minute mein hi neend aa jati hai. So it is to help people to narrow down to the page which I have indicated. It will give you the larger picture. Now, what is the larger picture? The history has been more than adequately covered by Colonel Rajawat, and you have also covered in your preamble. We need to understand the geography. Firstly, the geography, the bigger picture that I am talking of, the length and breadth of Myanmar. Where is it located? To its west, what is lying to the west? What is lying to the south? What is lying to the east? Why is it important now in 21st century? It was always important, but it is even more important now. Okay, so first and foremost thing, I'll only underscore those points which I feel are relevant at the cost of repetition. If they're being repeated, do pardon me. And first and foremost thing is that we need to understand that Myanmar as a country, it has got a border between China. China is to the north, and it has got something close to 2100 kilometers of border, length of border. It has got two provinces. Okay. And these two provinces, basically, if I recall correctly, Shan and which is the other one? To the west, you have
Chin.
Shan and Chin. Yeah, to the west you have Sanghain, you have Chin, and further down south is you have Rakhine. These are the three provinces. These are the who have got border with India, and that length is approximately 1,643 kilometers. We also need to understand that it has got a border with Bangladesh, which is roughly around, if I respect my memory, around 230 kilometers, if I'm not wrong. And to the south is Bay of Bengal. To the west is Bay of Bengal. To the south is Andaman Sea. To the east is Thailand. This is to be understood. The length and breadth of Myanmar is roughly around 2,000 kilometers by 1,000 kilometers. You can say, if you want to go into the specifics, you can Google up and find out, which will be around 900 some kilometers. So I'm saying roughly 1,000 kilometers. And north south is around 2,000 kilometers. There are more than one water body. So from the west, as you keep going towards the east, you have Chenduin, you have Iravati, you have, I think, Salween River, Mekong is also passing through, likewise, isn't it? So you have major river systems. Iravati is a very important river system. You have to see the flow, how it flows. Being military people, we need to actually have eye for detail. And regarding the political division of Myanmar, earlier used to be called as Burma, in undivided British Empire. But subsequently, we know it became independent in 1948. We all know what happened in 1962. But the major event which took place was somewhere along the timeline of 1988. Now, what did occur in 1988? In 1988, there was a pro-democracy protest. The pro-democracy movement was quelled by the government forces. That became one of the turning points of 20th century for the Western alliances come down heavily on Myanmar. They imposed number of sanctions on Myanmar, and as a result, Myanmar had no option. No, Myanmar did not get any loan from IMF, nor from World Bank, nor from ADB or any of these organizations. So it had no option but to actually lean on China. But it started leaning on China so much so that at one point in time, it had to behave in a subservient manner to China. So, in classical terms, for lack of correct expression, it was like a laundromat of China. So, they came to a realization. It is given in the page number 306 that I have shared with you, that China was a difficult neighbor. It came to such a turning point that they wanted to abandon China. For that, they started sending messages to West. America came to their rescue. Barack Obama, I'm just cutting short, only highlights I'm sharing. Barack Obama, during his flight to Australia in 2011, he landed at Myanmar. He met the leadership and made it very clear that if you want to shift your alliance towards USA, you have to show some visible and prominent signature of activity. What is that prominent signature of activity? By then, Myanmar had gone in for very significant deals with China. BRI had come into China, although BRI, conceptually speaking, it started in the year 2013. After Xi went to Kazakhstan, he announced, and the flagship project took off in earnest in CPEC. But BRI in other form had taken off. The CMEC that we talk of and the CPEC, we may be associating it to BRI, but they were there since 1949. In 1949, Chao Lai, you see, the Chinese that way, they have a long-term perspective plan. And they knew, they were very clear when they were invading Tibet and invading Xinjiang province. They were very clear. Apart from giving death to the heartland, they knew as to there is a requirement for China. They may not have come to that explicit realization of Malacca dilemma, but they knew that such a huge China, whose size is around 5,000 kilometers by 4,000 kilometers, after having annexed the Tibetan Autonomous Region and the Xinjiang province, they knew that Yunnan province or Sichuan province, that is the what will it will become? It will become southeastern portion of China, and Xinjiang is to the western portion of China. They were landlocked. their connectivity with the eastern flank. Eastern flank is the only area which has got 14,000 kilometers of seaboard or the maritime coastal line. For any kind of transportation or supply of energy, they had to travel a good distance of 3 to 4,000 kilometers. So they were looking for, and eastern flank means they have to traverse all the length. And China is what it is today because of a secure and safe supply of assured supply of energy security. And when you talk about energy security, 83% of its energy requirement is imported from outside China. And major share of 83%, close to 80%, it comes from, goes through the sea lanes of communication called as SLOC, from Persian Gulf, passes through the 9-degree channel, that is between the Lakshadweep and Maldives, between Minicoy Island and Maldives. And after that, it passes through the 10-degree channel, Andaman, and then through Malacca Strait. From the Persian Gulf up to Malacca Strait, it takes anything between 6 to 7 days' time. It's a distance of 5,750 kilometers. And from Malacca Strait to eastern flank of China takes another 7 days. But if the weather is turbulent, if it is bad, you can add plus minus likewise. So, and there are many choke points. So in case of hostilities, these choke points can be choked. So what am I coming to? So there was a realization that China, to grow, to rejuvenate the concept of Middle Kingdom and to redeem the century of humiliation, they have to become economically self-reliant. And to become economically self-reliant, they have to have some alternate connectivity, land connectivity for the landlocked provinces. Xinjiang, which earlier used to be called as East Turkestan province, and the Yunnan province, both were landlocked. So Xinjiang at a distance of, let's say, Kashgar to Gwadar, it's a distance of around 3,000 kilometers, approximately. And in this case, from Ruli, if you start from Yunnan, if you come down Chengdu, Yunnan, Uruli, cutting across Myanmar, it's another 3,000 kilometers. The name you are actually trying to find out, the name is called as Chakfu. Chakfu is a kind of a bridgehead. It's a port which they have constructed in the deep sea port. It's written as Kyaphu, Kyaaphu, but it is pronounced as Chakfu. Okay, and close to west of it is a port which India has constructed, Sitwe. It's not very far off, very close to each other. And from Sitwe, we have that Kaladan project, which Birendra brought out. Okay, it passes through land, then a river, and thereafter a road, and it's more or less ready. I think 60 odd kilometers are left. It should be ready anytime. The government of India is doing a great job despite all kinds of problems, and doing a good job. So basically, what is it that I'm trying to indicate? I'm trying to indicate that India, yes, which started late, but at least something is better than nothing. We started, and it started during Narasimha Rao government, lookist policy. May his soul rest in peace. That man had vision. And Narendra Modi from 2014 onwards, lookist started becoming actist. But for actist to fructify, to materialize, we need to understand a couple of issues. Apart from the maritime connectivity with our northeastern state, maritime connectivity from Hooghly, it's at a distance of 510 kilometers to Sitwe, from Sitwe another 100, 180 or 200 kilometers to Mizoram border, and thereafter you go into the Mizoram to have another supply chain access. Plus many pre-71 access have opened up, which are operational and functional way back in 1965. That includes Chotogram or Chittagong port, Mongla port has come to India's this thing. We are doing it, except for Yunus intervening period. Sonadia port, earlier China had taken, but Sonadia is too close to India, so we made a lot of cry. Sonadia has been suspended. Now Matarbadi is another port which is east of Sonadia, which has been given to Japanese consortium. Japan is developing, and the location of Matarbadi port is such. It is going to be one of the largest deep sea ports. It will change the complete geography. The distance, which is taking almost about 24 days or 42 days for any cargo to go from Bangladesh Chittagong port today to USA or to Europe, I'm given to understand, I have not gone into the brass tacks, I'm told it will cut down the duration or transportation by 50% or close to 50% of time. And accordingly, the cost will reduce. You can extrapolate the implications. So, plus Myanmar, it has become very important because of the following issues. First and foremost thing is it is strategically located. Rest all things you have covered. For an Act East to become effective and successful, there is a trilateral which is under construction. The trilateral is between India, Myanmar, and Thailand. The length of the trilateral is 1,700 kilometers, 1,742 or something, out of which the major length of this trilateral is already done. It's only a distance of 160 or 70 kilometers. Those of us who have gone to Manipur, they will bear me out. From More, Tamu and More, one side it is called a Tamu, the other side is called a. From More, the road actually starts, it goes through Mandalay and thereafter goes down towards Bangkok side, along the Mekong River. So there is a distance of 160 kilometers. It is cutting across Myanmar. This is the stretch which is to be done. It is actually infested with insurgents, different kinds of groups. Who are these groups? These are almost as many as 26 subgroups. They include Kukis, Maitais under different names. Okay, what are they doing in Myanmar? They are, in good olden days, Myanmar and Manipur, they used to be part of the same contiguous kind of a geography. Until the British India Empire, they divided into two different nations. This Manipur, if you actually go into the brass tacks, you will come to a conclusion that yes, what I am saying is correct. The Meitei and Kuki problem, we have artificially divided, but it is a problem which is there in Myanmar as well. But there is another angle which has come up. Why I showed you this book is, it says, it talks about Thucydide trap. An established power will never allow a rising power to come anywhere closer to its footing. It's a game between USA and China. Till 2006, Myanmar had signed an agreement and committed to China about a dam which was to be constructed at a place called Mitson, Myitson, Mitson, across Iravati, at a cost of $3.6 billion. When Barack Obama passed through Myanmar and America demanded something substantive to be shown so that your leanings come directly towards us, that is the time the president of Myanmar was Thein Sein. Thein Sein, written the Thein Sein, Thein Sein. During his tenure, a lieutenant colonel of Burma or the Myanmar had been given a task to write a strategic paper, top secret strategic paper. This page number 306, it refers to that strategic paper written in Burmese language. In that, he clearly stated, no matter what happens here in times ahead, the future, because Myanmar was not getting any financial support. If China was giving, it was charging commercial rate, 6%, 5%, whereas IMF gives you at 1%, 1.5%. World Bank gives you less than 1%, likewise. Okay, so they were being fleeced. They are being bled all through and through. So that dam, it was suspended despite the agreement in 2006. By 2011, it was clearly indicated to America that we'll do what you want. Why was it suspended on environmental ground? There are many other projects. They're making a SEZ close to Thailand. They're making a pipeline which has already been laid. They have optical fibers coming up right up to Chakku. There is a storage facility for the fossil fuel. There is a railway line. Incidentally, in 2000, this is 25, 2023, 24, they have had a successful trial of transportation of cargo, multimodal transport from Singapore going across Thailand through Myanmar right up to Yunnan province, 3,600 kilometers or so. So China is in its best. And let me also tell you, there are in Myanmar, if I remember correctly, there are 126 projects which are underway. China has invested $15 billion on ground. There are so many activities taking place. Dams are being under construction. Ports are under construction. Despite the change over the strategic rivalry, China is playing its game in a big way. But the biggest thing is these insurgents that I spoke of. How are they surviving? At times they are in favor of Tatmadaw. What is Tatmadaw? Tatmadaw is the other name of the military of Myanmar. Who are Tatmadaws? Tatmadaws are basically Maitais. So at one point in time, the rebel group, the brotherhood, three brotherhood group. There is a Tang group, there is a Shan group, there is some other name, three brothers. They actually originated from the northern border. Riuli is name of a place along the border between Myanmar and China. Riuli is very famous for availability of state-of-the-art equipments in the world. The weapon system, ammunition. Name a thing, it is available. At dirt cheap. No licensing required. So that is actually a ready-made. And all the leaders, Paresh Barua and all these characters that you see, Anup Jaitia and all, at some point in time, they were there at Riuli. For them, it was a kind of a sanctuary. So from Riuli, they come through Irrawaddy, cut across, then through the Myanmar, and they come towards Manipur. So why am I bringing out this issue? I am bringing out this issue is that the loyalty of Tatmadaw, you all have brought out, both of you, about the democracy and the changeover. Aung San Suu Kyi, how she has been actually subjected to torture, despite being a Nobel laureate. Democracy had its sizable presence in Myanmar, but military junta, now elections are around the corner. Let's see what happens. America is trying to exert influence and bring about some kind of a restoration of democracy there. But the issue that I'm trying to highlight is there is a thing called a Golden Triangle. The Golden Triangle, it consists of three countries. One is Myanmar, the second is Laos, the third is Thailand. Fortunately or unfortunately, the quality of the heroin produced is very inferior in comparison with Golden Crescent, which is there, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. And the selling rate of 1 kg of heroin from here is, I think, much lesser than the heroin quality there in the Golden Crescent. But what I'm trying to highlight is that by and by, in past 5 to 10 years, the areas of cultivation of poppy has expanded towards Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur. This is a very dangerous trend that we have to keep in mind. And the drug circulation has actually been taken advantage of by the people inimical to our progressive growth of our country. And this is one of the reasons as to why. Where is the money coming from? You Google up, you'll find a UN Office for Drugs and Crimes, UNODC. Okay, you'll find how much of revenue is coming. This money is actually playing that game inside. Plus the shifting loyalty with Tatmadaw, and Tatmadaw is hitting the cookies in Myanmar. When they are hit, cookies will come running to this place. So there is a geographic and historic contiguity of Myanmar with Manipur. And the Britishers, they drew a line, call it by anything, 1,643 kilometers between India and Myanmar. There are no fencing, although government is very, very committed to make the fencing. I think the work has started in a very incremental manner. There is no surveillance system. There is no counter-infiltration system. There is a, what is that, border movement, free movement region, FMR or something.
FMR is free
FMR,
movement regime.
Correct.
Free
Earlier it
movement.
used to be 40 kilometers, now it has come down to 16 to 10, something like that. I am the one who's been shouting a lot. You must impose and institutionalize the visa. When people come in, they must have some kind of a purchase. It should be notified. You are here for 30 days, you will go back after 30 days. Otherwise, India will start having problems. And Mizoram, as on today, has got maximum number of these refugees of cookies and what is that? Cookizo or something, some tribe.
Kizo. Kizo.
Cookizo in 2008, both of you are aware that there was a suspension of operation carried out. It took a lot of time. Took a lot of time, almost about 10 years to make them surrender, and the weapons were surrendered by them, operations were surrendered, weapons were actually put into armories in the police stations and different places. But 2023 is a thing which a landmark here. Nobody could explain. Nobody could explain as to why, despite 8 to 9 years of silence and peace and harmony, why suddenly a court judgment like this could actually, trigger such kind of a violent activity. And when people started talking sense, I started showing this book. There is somebody by the name of, I don't know, I'm forgetting his name. There's a youngster who keeps coming on the TV, General Shah's son, I think, Captain Ali or somebody, who kept on contesting my point, giving in the TV key. There is a bigger game plan going on. Today, while we are talking, we should be mindful of the fact that the Saint Martin Island of Bangladesh, I am given to understand, I have got inputs from people on ground that it has been handed over to USA forces. So you will understand, both of you will understand, handing over to USA forces, for which Sheikh Hasina was registering to the hilt, and it is the reason as to why she has been expelled or she has been actually thrown out. So basically, the Bay of Bengal is turning into a kind of Cuckoo's Island. Cuckoo Island actually, आप देखोगे, it should have rightfully come to India. But there are so many unjustifiable decisions which have been taken, but we'll leave it at that. Past cannot be redeemed or corrected so quickly. We should remain alive to all this. Cuckoo's Island is 250 kilometers from the coastal line of Myanmar coastline, but it is just 17 kilometers away from the northernmost island of Andaman Nicobar. They have got optical fiber. There is a oil pipeline, I'm told. There is a ALG advanced landing ground airstrip which has been constructed. There are mobile towers there. Lots of surveillance mechanism. They are keeping all our activities in the eastern coast. Our eastern coast has got all the research centers. You have got your proof, you have got ISRO, you have got ITR, you have got your nuclear reactor, you have got your Arihant nuclear submarine, everything. So they managed to establish Chafku, or call it whatever, Kyafku or Chafku, I'll call it. They managed to establish Cuckoo's Island. Why are they doing all this? They are trying to find some alternate means and methods, firstly, to dominate the Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal is going to become a sea of rivalry in times to come. Till 2011 or 12, they used to have one odd ship coming in across Malacca. As on today, at any point in time, there are 7 to 8 ships, vessels, Chinese vessels, 3 submarines, one submarine in Bay of Bengal, one submarine towards south of Hambantota or Arabian Sea, and one submarine towards the Persian Gulf side. There are 3 vessels, surveillance vessels. One is towards the Bay of Bengal, one is towards Hambantota, and one is towards Maldives, between Maldives and this place, Lakshadweep. तो 3 ये हो गए. इसके अलावा, don't be surprised to know that they have something like civil military fusion. So what does it mean? It means that the fishing boats which are made for fishing, they are traveling all the way from the east coast of China. They are out of the economic exclusive zone of Sri Lanka, of Maldives, of Oman. Okay, so these are the kinds of things. I'll just switch it. So these are the, you see, 260 vessels have been reported to be there all together. Maldives, Hamantota, and Sri Lanka, Maldives, and there is one more country I'm forgetting in between. 260 may be appearing to be very minuscule. Now, why is it? Operation Sindoor, neither the government has given out a white paper till now, nor any of us know as to how things. People have been calling me, you know how much of firing took place in Baramulla. So how does it impact? I just dismissed the point. How does it impact? So why are you asking such questions? But the fact of the matter remains that I hope people who are writing books, General Dhillon and Claus has written a book, they bring out every aspect which has got a bearing on the security imperative. Anyway, so basically, the whole Operation Sindoor, whether you agree or not, the China wanted to see our response matrix of our naval resources along the western border. In case Taiwan is reunified, they are captured, they are attacked, okay, or by peaceful means, how would the western seaboard naval resources of India respond? So they have been keeping all activities under surveillance through the means and methods of the fishing vessels in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. So let me come back to the whole issue now, Myanmar. So that 1,700 kilometer of trilateral, it is still incomplete, it needs to be completed. And suffice to say that it is not only the gateway, it is the springboard. Myanmar is the springboard of Act East policy. Now, why are we talking about Act East? It will do good to our viewership to understand that China is a rising power. It has penetrated into the Southeast Asia. ASEAN has got, as on today, 10 countries, but I always say from my side, 10 plus 1 is Timor to be added. And if you go into nitty-gritties, you will find out of 10 countries, there are 3 countries which are already in the pocket. Who are these 3 countries? Of China. One is Myanmar, second is Laos, the third is Cambodia. Okay. So out of 10, 3 are gone. What about the rest? The remaining 7, there are only 2 countries which are standing up to China. Chinese bully. One is Vietnam, and which is the other country? Philippines. Okay, 2 countries. तो कितना हो गया? 3 + 2 5 चलेगा. बाकी जो 5 हैं, they are fence sitters. Whichever side suits them, they will only flip. That is why the code of conduct of the ASEAN countries have still not been finalized, despite all agreements between China and ASEAN for South China Sea for freedom of navigation. It's a separate chapter we can discuss later. But I'll bring my articulations to an end. What is it that Myanmar should be done? Can you control the Tatmadaw? You cannot. You can only hope for the best. The strategic rivalry may lead to some kind of an election in Myanmar, like Brigadier Birendra has brought out. We should expect an election taking place in Bangladesh. I was there for Bangladesh International Seminar a couple of days back in USA. And if that happens, well, it is a welcome development. And if India is going along through the Act East policy, we will be able to connect by land mode with the ASEAN countries. Now, what is our status with the ASEAN countries today? Out of $85 billion of total trade, 45 billion is actually being imported from ASEAN countries. Plus, that means the trade deficit. Okay, it is not in surplus, it is surplus of ASEAN countries. So we need to do a lot more. What is that lot more? We have also withdrawn from an organization known as RCEP. Why has India withdrawn from there? India has withdrawn because we are fearing that there may be. China is actually a dominant force in RCEP. There are almost about 15 odd countries, ASEAN total, plus China, plus 2-3 countries from the East Asia. So there is a fear that Chinese goods may get flooded in the Indian market. Our own industry and farmers, they may be affected. That's why we have pulled back. So there are a host of issues. And also, when you talk, I think Virendra spoke about BIMSTEC, or you brought out Colonel Rajawat. When you talk about BIMSTEC, there are 2 countries out of ASEAN who are member of BIMSTEC. One is Myanmar, the second is Thailand. so as to enable us to put our Act East policy into effect. So, one, we are looking at the maritime connectivity with Southeast Asia. We are looking at the land connectivity through the Southeast Asia, through Myanmar. Also, aerial connectivity is always there. But the issue that I wish to highlight is Bay of Bengal is no longer the same Bay of Bengal which used to be there 25 years back. Although we have got Andaman, the command, Tri-Services Command, but look at the problems when the central government is announcing huge budget chunk of funds, but there is resistance from the opposition. In matters of national security, we have to draw a line. Enough is enough. You cannot delay. We are already behind by 25, 30 years. If you don't do Sabang Island, let me tell you, Indonesia had offered Sabang Island. Sabang Island is 161 kilometers from the southern tip of Andaman Nicobar. Do you know? Because we have not been able to respond in time, the Sabang Island is going into the hands of Chinese. Hangi Island is of Singapore. Fortunately, they have given us logistic-based supplies. It is basic idea is if you do not deploy yourself in time and deny or have the capability to cause delay and attrition on the enemy, you will not be effective on ground. So it is a battle of continental threat versus the maritime threat. So therefore, keeping in mind all this, I would say that Myanmar is all good. India must continue to engage, whether it is junta or civilian opposition party. The time has come, even the enemy has to be engaged. And last but not the least, let me also share through this forum that there is a gradual shifting of boundary, Myanmar boundary, western boundary or our eastern boundary. The salami slicing is taking place. How is it taking place? The complete Myanmar is filled with high quality and high percentage of rare earth element. China has virtually, it is ripped Myanmar apart. Its environment pollution is taking place, water is getting polluted. In the process of mining and extracting the rare earth element, they are gradually eating into a Patkai Range. Patkai Range is the ridge which is dividing between India and Myanmar. They're gradually shifting. We should be mindful of this fact as to if it is shifting, then why don't we go in for boundary demarcation? This is one place where we have the IB. It shouldn't happen that this IB is also contested in times ahead, the way they are doing with Nepal. Nepal IB, they have disregarded the IB with Nepal. They are coming into Nepal, they said, sorry, this IB is wrong. So therefore, it is very, very important. I am very glad and happy that you have brought up. If there are any queries and issues that you wish to bring up, you are most welcome. You can contact me. There are, I hope, more or less in a storytelling manner, I have covered everything except for Rohingya. Rohingya itself is a specialized subject. We cannot do justice in just 30 minutes or 40 minutes. We need to have a separate discussion on Rohingya, how Rohingya crisis and criticality is becoming a factor of instability because there is a four brotherhood of Rohingyas which has come into being in Bangladesh, which are going to play merry hell. One is led by ISI, second one is led by Taliban, third is led by Houthis, fourth one is led by some unknown God-forsaken name. Their basic task is to balkanize India, to radicalize India. Bangladesh, as it is radicalized, with such things happening in Myanmar, so is India anytime safer? So under these circumstances, what can India do is a matter which every Indian deserves to have time for himself to think and apply and give us some kind of a viable recommendation and join us in weekly such kind of podcasts so that we also can make a humble contribution to national security. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan Sudhakar Jee. Very in-depthly covered about the aspects of Myanmar, more so with the relationship with Myanmar, China, developments taking place, and the important issue regarding the tri-party axis, what we are making, and the axis from the Bay of Bengal, importance of Bay of Bengal, and the islands which are there. And as you brought out, it is very important that Bay of Bengal now it has taken more prominence, and with our Act East policy, probably the only, I would say, the ground access what we have is through Myanmar. Through sea and through air is a different issue, but through ground access, that is the route which needs to be developed. And ground access is the one which connects both countries more rather than the connectivity by air. So the relationship needs to be developed with elections coming in Myanmar, and hopefully the government which comes there have a good relationship in continuation what India and Myanmar has. I look at it from a point of view that Myanmar is going to play a very vital role in India's policy towards um, Asian countries, and that also Bay of Bengal, which was something like dormant, probably will be more active in terms of when you look at it from point of view of economic development, commercial activities, and yes, military activities. It will be there. So that needs to be seen from that perspective. And with that, I'll come back to Colonel Rajawat to ask him, what do you think the future relationship between India and Myanmar would be in next coming years? In a very brief way, can you please put it across? Over to Colonel Rajawat.
Thank you. Yes, in the years to come, India has no option but to improve its relationship, socio-economic relationship, and international relationship with Myanmar in a big way. Can you hear
I think,
me?
yes, now I can hear you. In between, there's a stoppage.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to, in a big way, and I would say India has got to be a little more aggressive in terms of our ethnicity. We must leverage the ethnicity of Manipur and Mizoram and Nagaland to our favor. uh, by humanitarian aid and other sorting out the Northeast problem and leverage it against China in Myanmar. I feel it may be a little radical, but I feel we have to be more aggressive on this aspect. This is one. And once the election takes place, we cannot right now isolate and the military junta. Our prime minister met the chief in China recently in SEO summit when he had gone. Very good for that. And we should keep on interacting with the military junta, and at the same time, elections have got to be there. Now, my idea of geopolitics and international relations are very radical. I People may not agree with me, but I say we have got to join hands with USA in containing China. China is our rival in Asia very much. We have a border conflict with them, and they are very much there present in Myanmar. And like General Sudhakar Jee has already mentioned, that Obama had landed there and this tried to pull it away from China. India should support America in this aspect. They are the only people, because they need someone to have influence countering China, and India should be the one ideally. Although we may follow our independent policy, but we got to join hands, and we cannot challenge USA. They are $25 trillion economy, $21 trillion, and we are just $4 trillion. Vast gap. They're too strong, and we have to have our economic interest in mind. So we have to toe the line to some extent. I will not say fully, to some extent, join hand and become their weight and become their counterweight against China in look east policy. So my ideas are those very much. And like Sudhakar Ji has already said, this besides these 5 countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, and all these countries, I've been to Malaysia. I saw there was a Chinese influx. They all come for holidays, then they go back. There's so much interaction is there in Malaysia, even in Indonesia, to a large extent, and they are all fence sitters. We need America, because India alone with its economic weight cannot manage in a big way against China. So we need a counterweight, and we need America as an ally. So improving relationship with Myanmar will help us to extend our economic influence up to the Association of Southeast Asian nations by making this road. We should also build railways right up till Vietnam. Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. We should build it. We should go for it, and it's in our interest to manage our northeast part of India and to manage the trade. That's it.
Thank you, Colonel Rajawat. Very well covered. There are certain, Mr. Akash have put a question about the health related and cancer related deaths, which have become a flashpoint between Myanmar and China. I'll request General Sudhakar Jee, sir, if you can throw some light on that, or the question of Mr. Akash.
Yeah, what is the question? Can you just read it out?
Sir, it is a rare earth mining in being done mostly in the northern provinces, and due to the recent rise in cancer and health related deaths has
Yes,
become a flashpoint.
I'm very happy that the gentleman Akashi raises very pertinent questions in every podcast I've seen, whether it is here or Strive or Clause or wherever I happen to be present. I have seen him. He's right. It's actually gone up. The health hazards have actually gone up wherever there is a mining activity. You see, we need to understand what. Firstly, rare earth element is not rare. It is there everywhere. But the extraction itself is a very complex subject. And extraction is dominated by, there is they call it as a upstream, midstream, and downstream segment in rare earth. What does it mean? It means there are three different streams where you require different machinery, different methodology, different processing, and different production methods. Okay, so China is dominating in all of them. म्यांमार में उसने ऐसा कर लिया है कि they have virtually disregarded the basic mundane life and the livelihood of people simply to to extract the rare element, process them and produce them and carry them to China. As a result, all these people are suffering. There are large number of cases. He's correct, because this has become a very serious problem between China and Myanmar. That is why Myanmar is actually backing out. This has to be leveraged. Such like issues have to be leveraged by country like India and USA. I am glad that Colonel Rajawat brought out that point, that yes, there is a requirement to calibrate. But how do you calibrate? It's a realistic world. Today, the ambassador designate, he started shouting that oil from Russia has to be taken, not to be stopped by India. My counterpoint is, yes, we'll stop it, provided America, they said you buy oil from USA. We are already buying. 7% of our oil is being bought from USA, which was zero earlier. We are already buying. But will USA give us at a lesser cost than that of Russia? Russia's oil, fossil fuel is capped. The price is capped. Will USA? Shell gas is high. It is very, very expensive. It is much more expensive than that of other gases coming from other regions. So if USA is prepared to pay us or give us oil at a lesser, I'm really surprised why such learned people are not making these statements. Make the deal, make your equations clear. Tell them, yes, we are there. We want to buy from you. Are you prepared to give us? You have delayed our aerospace engine by 2 long years. They still have not come. 404 engine hasn't come from GE. वो कह रहे हैं अभी आएगा, अगस्त में आएगा, सितंबर आएगा. 414 तो दूर की बात है. So ये जो conditions हैं, as long as they respond to their commitment in a time-bound manner, we are happy. But with regard to Akash's point, I totally agree with you. There is a criticality and there is a flashpoint developing in the sense Myanmar cannot fight. There are other issues which I am deliberately avoiding because each of these issues it will take 40 minutes to explain. They cannot fight against China. China is putting pressure against Tatmadaw, keeping Myanmar under pressure. What is Pakistan to China? Myanmar is also the same way to China. If Pakistan and Bangladesh, they're importing 80 to 82% of military hardware. Myanmar is no exception. वो कान को उल्टा पकड़ के वो पाकिस्तान के थ्रू भेज रहा है, कहाँ पे, म्यांमार में। हवाई जहाज की बात करिए, J-10 की बात करो, उसका J-17 की बात करिए, टॉक अबाउट एनी रॉकेट्स और मिसाइल्स, पाकिस्तान इज प्रोवाइडिंग टू म्यांमार weapons and all. Plus, really is a platform which is giving them free of cost, no registration. Anyone can come and buy. So, likewise.
Thank you, sir. And can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Uh, Thanks a lot to General Sudhakar Jee and Colonel Ajay Rajawat. We have had a very it is a dynamic and insight into Myanmar, the strategic location of Myanmar, the future relationship in terms of our Act East policy, and the developments which are taking place. The importance comes in terms of Bay of Bengal and the connectivity towards the South Asian countries nearby by road. That is very important. And along the border, the relationship and the ethnicity which was brought out, it paves a way. And I probably think that it will give a thought process to our impetus and will be better for Act East policy to take a cue from this. With this, I thank General Sudhakar Ji and Colonel Ajay Rajawat and Yuvraj, who's in the backdrop for the show today and putting points across in a very fruitful manner. I sign off. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.